Hello, and thanks for joining me for the Daily Bread Bible Study. We're looking at day 123 here for Saturday, May 2nd, 2020, focusing on 1 Chronicles 13 through 16. So a lot of this is repeated, especially from 2 Samuel chapter 5 and 6 there on day 92. So we'll get in to see how this material is kind of reused and adapted. So our first part, 1 Chronicles 13, comes from 2 Samuel chapter 6, where King David seeks to bring the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem. He has a new cart built and goes with a multitude of people and priests to bring it into Jerusalem. There's much dancing and rejoicing when suddenly one of the quote-unquote priests touches the Ark in concern for it bouncing off. Now, that's all of the things I've said on day 92. But upon researching it more thoroughly, the issues, with it bouncing off and the priest touching it and God killing the man on the spot, is that he appears to be a priest who has not been appointed by God or Moses, aka he is not a Levite, and he has been asked to manage the ark. This was because the Philistines previously stole the Ark of the Covenant, and the people of Kiriath-Jearim cared for the ark after it was stolen by the Philistines. So that was in 2 Samuel. That was under the prophet Samuel before the anointing of King Saul. So anyways, this story is just a setting up and going back to the Levites being in charge of the ark. And so that's really the point of this part of it. So just like I said, God sees the driver touch the Ark of the Covenant and kills the man on the spot. Then King David names the place in remembrance of the Lord's outburst against the gentleman and is worried that the ark might bring more anger from God. So he leaves it at the house of Obed-Edom, the Gittite, for 3 months. We move then on to 1 Chronicles 14, hearing a story repeated from 2 Samuel 5, where David, there is with the Philistines, and they try to attack him. But King David brings victories over the Philistines at Rephaim and from Gibeon to Gezer. And David's influence grows and his family grows in Jerusalem. Moving back to 2 Samuel 6, King David brings the Ark of the Covenant finally in from Obed-Edom. He designates certain descendants of Aaron and Levi for specific tasks. And so these tasks for the priest and the Levites include bringing up the Ark of the Lord, being singers and musicians, and gatekeepers for the ark. Now, these gatekeepers, often we think of gatekeepers as a very negative thing, but here it's basically the attendants to the ark, as we saw in the first part of Chronicles. I believe it's chapter 9. We saw how the gatekeepers attend to the food and they attend to the services and make sure the doors are unlocked and open. And so it's the attendants to the ark is probably better than gatekeepers. But then we also see, similar to 2 Samuel 6, Michal, the daughter of Saul, despises her husband King David for his leaping and dancing, aka likely as he is dancing about, he's flashing people and while he dances, and so it's causing a little bit of a ruckus, and Michal is not on board with it. And then closing with 1 Chronicles chapter 16, we see some of the work of King David, his poetry, and we see this actually taken from the Psalms. So we see a couple connections to the Psalms here. First is a man named Asaph is appointed as the chief or the conductor of the temple musicians. And then David shares with us some Psalms, namely Psalm 96, Psalm 105, and Psalm 106. So in a brief summary of this song, it's a celebration of what the God of Jacob has done for the Israelites. They're starting off with Psalm 105. It references Abraham's covenant, the promise to give Canaan to the Israelites, or the descendants of Abraham, I should say, and the wandering in the wilderness. Then it moves on to Psalm 96 with a general call to worship and thanksgiving to God. And finally, it uses the end of Psalm 106 to ask God for deliverance from other nations. So this song feels like it's a compilation, a lot of different psalms. It's kind of the best of, for his point, and it feels like this is, added here more so than King David singing these songs without, and then people adding them later. No, I much imagine he is pulling from psalms that are already being used in the community, and they are fitting it into the context of it. So he was either adapting psalms that already exist or retrospectively. It doesn't particularly matter. David is happy and singing praises to God. So after all this song and singing is over, they offer burnt offerings to the Lord according to the law, and then everyone goes home, and after the celebration is all over. So we will continue on in the stories of King David coming up next time. So thanks for joining us again for this Daily Bread Bible study.